Hey everybody, welcome to another SoundFlow webinar. My name is Chad Walbrink, and I will be joined shortly by my friend and teammate Kitch Membery. We're going to be talking about the new Logic Pro integration today for SoundFlow, and we had a great time back in January at NAMM 2024, showing off the new features to people there, and we got a really positive response from everybody that attended that. So we're really excited to share those features with you today. For those of you who are not familiar with SoundFlow, SoundFlow is a creative workflow automation platform for creatives, and it helps you to streamline tasks and keep you in the creative flow, that kind of thing. So before I hand it over to Kitch, I just want to let you guys know that we definitely encourage you to ask a lot of questions. We're going to have a time later on in the stream to answer questions on air. And also stick around. We're going to have a promo today to get an extended trial of SoundFlow for Logic. And we'd love to have you take advantage of that. So with that, I'm going to get Kitch in here. So let's get him in. Here we go.
How's it going, Chad?
Hey, Kitch. How are you doing?
Great to see you, mate.
Good to see you too. Awesome. We're really excited for today, huh?
Indeed. Yeah, it's been a very busy year. And as you said, NAMM was a great success with rolling out the new Logic Pro integration.
Yes.
Up until now, there's only been a limited number of commands and scripts and macros for Logic Pro, but now we're happy to say that we have this Logic Pro package, which has over 1,400 pre-made commands and presets ready to go. It comes with a 5x3 deck that you can show on Stream Deck devices, iOS and Android devices, and it's set up so you can get going straight out of the box. And the cool thing is it's available now in the SoundFlow store for anyone who has a SoundFlow Cloud Pro subscription.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to hear what people think. Just a little caveat: this is the Logic Pro integration it's in its infancy, but we plan on making it something really great in the future. But we've already got some really powerful things that we can do with it. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah, awesome, Kitch. Well, yeah. Can we see some of the Logic package in action? Can you show it off?
I would love to show it off. Yes.
All right. Let's do
indeed. Do you want to share my screen and we'll
yeah, here we go.
Okay. So up in the top right corner here, top left corner here, I've got a screen recording of from my phone showing my iPad, my Stream Deck Plus. I've got a Stream Deck XL over here and a standard. At the moment, I've got the pre-made Logic deck showing on here, and I've also got an instrument deck showing all of my Logic Pro instruments. And I like to have my iPad Pro set up so it's showing all of the plugins, the Logic Pro plugins. So I've got easy access to them. And then I've got some cool features that I'll show you later on the Stream Deck Plus. Okay, so I've got a demo deck that I've created here just to show off the power of the new Logic Pro package. And essentially it goes through and does some individual tasks. So you hit one button and it does one thing, and does it really well without having to dig into menus, without having to click tiny buttons on the screen. It makes it using Logic way more streamlined. So this session is a session that my sister sent me from Australia, and she has a different computer setup, and I like to have things arranged slightly different. So I created a command that will configure the control bar just with the click of a button. So if I hit that button there, as you can see, it sets it up exactly the way that I want it. And I also like to have a little bit more horizontal real estate, so I can set my track headers the way that I like them. So if I click configure track headers here, it sets that up exactly the way that I like it. And I've got the left command and right click mouse tools here. And to change them, rather than digging through the menus, I can just, with one button, change those over like this. And of course, creating tracks is super simple with the Logic Pro package. I can create an audio track, or say I wanted to create a software instrument track, and then I wanted to color that track. Let's make it purple. And instrument tracks, with the Logic Pro package, we have the ability to load instruments, MIDI effects, plugins and also sends onto the left and right tracks of the inspector over here. So say for this track, I wanted to have like alchemy on that. I could click my alchemy instrument there. And then maybe I decided, no, I actually want something more retro. So I'm going to go for retro synth, and that's going to swap that over. And we can add some MIDI effects. So let's see. I'll put a chord trigger and an arpeggiator. And that's pretty good because I'm terrible on the keyboard. So that's super handy. Then let's add some plugins. A compressor, maybe a vintage EQ, some distortion, and a robo flanger. So anyone who's spent time in Logic or any DAW knows that digging into these menus, going down and like trying to work out and making sure that you're on at the right spot, it can be very tedious. And often we're loading the same plugins over and over again, for the standard things that we want. And something that's really cool that with the power of SoundFlow's basic package, I was able to create some commands that will work on the knobs on the Stream Deck here, this Stream Deck Plus. So we've got 4 knobs down here. I've got one set to horizontal zoom, one to vertical zoom, one to move the transport, and then one to cycle through the plugins. So with the turn of the knob, I can go through and cycle through these plugins. And if I want to get rid of them, I can just hit one button and they'll disappear. So then the transport, I can scroll through the transport, makes it nice and smooth. I can do a vertical zoom or a horizontal zoom in and out. And by clicking the buttons, I can also reset them. So this is all pretty cool. We can also do things like setting track output. So I've got this button here, which is like a search mechanism. So it allows you to search easily to find the output that you want to send things to. So if I click IO, select track output, and then I can start typing. So if I wanted to send it to my stereo output, if I type in stereo, and then it filters out the list, and I can find the one that is the stereo output, click on that, and then it'll set that for me.
That's awesome.
We've also got that for track inputs, as well as a whole bunch of other things. And of course, Chad actually mentioned to me a while back when we were testing the package that with the having the plugin loader and having all of the Logic Pro plugins ready to go, there's when using the amps and stomp boxes in Logic, if you click on here and you go to amps and pedals, and then you have to go through all of these menus to get there, it's like quite a long way to get there. But and I never ended up using them because they just weren't ready to go. And so now, just with the with this deck and everything laid out, I can just hit one button and it just loads them up. So it just makes things way more useful. Anyway, so let's go back to the demo deck here. So with that, all of these actions that I've showed you, they do one single thing, but we can actually create a full workflow. So say I wanted to press one button and have it do a lot of that stuff that I just walked through in one go. We can do that. And I've got this button down here that says Logic Pro Macro. And if I click that, it'll go through, it'll create a track, it'll set up the track headers, it'll open the instrument, it'll open the plugins one by one, and then it's done. So that's something that would, otherwise take quite a bit of time to set up. And it just gets you up and happening pretty quick. So we've got these cool features, and then we can dive into other stuff. Like, for instance, I've got this studio cello here, and when I program this, I think I programmed this in with a with the floating keyboard in Logic. I was doing it on my laptop, and so with this here, I've got this, and you can see that the velocities are all set to a definite value for every single note. So if I needed to humanize that, I can actually use a button to run humanize for a MIDI transform preset. So if I click this button here that says humanize, it goes through and it humanizes that. So then what I can do is now that I've humanized that and I wanted to know that it's done, I can click the clip color, and then that'll change the clip color there. So it gets even better, Chad. As you know, I've also created command templates to do a whole bunch of other things. So we've got the ability to bounce things in place, which is, for composers when they want to convert their MIDI to real audio. They usually have specific settings, and you can make presets that are designed exactly to what you want. So this preset I've got here is set up as a mono. It's going to bounce it as mono. It's going to mute the source. It's going to add effects. It's not going to add the volume and pan, and it's going to print the tail. So if I've got this part selected here, or maybe even these two clips here, and if I click this one button here, it's going to open that. It's going to set all my preset settings, go through and bounce it, and then it's done. And as you can see, it's muted it and everything. So having these kind of presets can really speed up your workflow. And of course, when it comes to the end of a session, if I have a section that I need to bounce to disk, I have a button here that will set things up so it's wave 24-bit 48K, and it's going to bounce offline. So with that button, I click one button, it comes up to ask me what I want to name this. And I can name this demo and press save, and it goes through, sets all my settings, goes through, bounces it, waits for the bounce workflow to go through, and then it says bounce complete. So it's super handy and makes, just from beginning to end, if you're working on a project, you really can stay in the creative zone. You can stop thinking about all the technical stuff. And especially, like, even if you're when you're working with other musicians, Chad, like, I know, like, when we're in sessions and we're the dedicated engineer,
right,
and really getting things ready for artists, it can be like really great to have that functionality. So yeah. So
incredible. Yeah,
I think that's it. And also, like, once the track is bounced, you can click a button here to open the bounce folder. And that'll open your bounce folder, so you don't have to, switch over to Finder and work out where the actual file is and everything. It actually gets the information from the name of the track and the path of the Logic session, and it'll take you right there. And so, something that's really cool, that I find cool, is that when we were at NAMM and we were having to show off these demos quite a lot,
right.
I'd like to have like a fresh session to start with to show things off. And so what I would do is I had this button in the bottom right here to revert to save. And if I click that, it goes through, selects it, waits for the session to reload, and then it's all back to where I want. So that's just not just the power of the Logic package, but the power of SoundFlow as well, being able to do those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for taking us through that. That's awesome.
No worries, man.
Well, yeah, I definitely want to see more of this. I want to see the pre-made decks and more of the behind the scenes and the SoundFlow interface. But before we get into it, I do want to let everybody know who's watching. We do have a little promotion going the next couple of days. So for all the viewers of this webinar, if you email us at support@soundflow.org, we're going to extend your trial an extra 30 days for the Logic Pro integration. So you'll get even more time to play with it, and it'll be on us. So yeah, definitely do that. And we'll be happy to get you set up with an extended trial. So thank you so much. But yeah, so Kitch, you mentioned there is a pre-made, there's pre-made decks that you can use right out of the box, right? So like, what can you give us some examples of how that works, or what that looks like?
Yeah, so yeah, we have a 5x3 deck that has been designed for just like as a starter.
Great.
So for those who haven't used SoundFlow before and want to just get up and running and see what the Logic Pro package has to offer, we've created a 5x3 deck. And if you want to share my screen, I can show you. I've got
yeah, for sure. Here we go.
On this, this is a screen recording of my iPad, and as you can see, I've got these different categories that I've put commands into. So in the bounce category, we've got some. Hang on a sec. Let me just check one thing. Just do
no worries.
There's always sometimes issues with screencasting.
Yes.
Where things go, but it's an easy fix. It should be
right.
be easy. Okay, so here we go. So if I go click on, great. Okay, we're working. Okay, so so I've got a bounce folder here, and it's got a bunch of bounce functions,
Awesome.
and bounce projects and selection, bouncing regions in place. We've got the clip colors and track colors. We can go in there and choose things like that. So if I, for instance, if I've got a track selected here, and I wanted to change that to purple, there we go. That does that. And then we can go back here. We've got our instrument loader. So I've put this into grouped synths, modeled drums and samplers and MIDI effects. So you can go through and see what's available in there and load them on the track of choice. We've also got some mix functions and plugins. So the plugin loader, it's got all the different categories of the inbuilt Logic plugins. But later we'll go into how you can actually create your own presets for different plugins and instruments that you have. Then we've got the sends loader, so it allows you to put things onto different sends. Settings, opening up settings. We've got tools, so tools for the left, right, and command click. So left, right, command click there. So we can swap between those. And then we've got like track functions, so creating tracks on the fly. Transport controls, standard stuff. We've got a couple of decks here for that. And we've got different views and different window functions. So all of these here. So there's I think there's over 60 pre-made decks there. But also we've, if we head on over to SoundFlow, we've also got, in SoundFlow, we've got a full decks folder here, which I've created like full decks of like the colors and all of the different menus, so you can use them. So I've got like an instrument deck here. My favorite one is this one because it's the most colorful. But you can make custom sized up to 30 by 30 in a grid of buttons to show on iOS and Android devices and even on your screen. And yeah, different stuff like that. So it's super, super cool to be able to do that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we had a couple of questions. Somebody asked, how are you getting into those subdecks? And I just wanted to clarify. So you're running this on your iPad right now.
Oh, yes.
And this is the iOS app for SoundFlow. That's a free install. And
yeah.
This pairs it with. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So if I swap over to my iPhone camera here, as you can see, here's the deck that I've got going. And yes, it's kind of hard to show this. Maybe I need like a second camera. So I've got the deck
right.
and everything here. So if I'm on the main deck here, I click on that and it'll load another deck. And we've got a back button here. And then we just go into these and then just navigate using the back button. So hopefully that answers that question there.
Yeah, for sure.
But we've actually got some videos. We've got a Learning SoundFlow playlist on YouTube, which is a great resource to learn a bunch of stuff about SoundFlow. And we've got videos specifically on showing decks on devices and creating decks and different ways to do things. But I can actually show. Actually, that's probably a good segue into showing off how to create a custom deck.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into that.
Let's do that. So I'm just going to move this off the screen here. So if I select my demo package here, and if I wanted to create my own deck, I could click the plus new button up the top here, and it gives us options to create macros, decks, surfaces, scripts, packages, and package folders. But for now, let's make a deck. So I'm going to say my custom Logic Pro deck, and press return. So now we've got a deck here, and it's given me the standard 5x3, which is similar to the size of a standard Stream Deck. but we can actually change this. We can change the size, so we can have it 8x4 for the XL, for the Plus, the Mini, and we even have the ability to assign commands to a Stream Deck pedal. You have one of those, don't you, Chad?
I do, yeah.
Super handy for certain things, and then you can also make a custom size where you can change this from 30 to 30. So that's a bit overkill, but but
900 buttons, I think.
900 buttons. There we go.
Yeah.
So let's swap this back to just the standard 5x3 for now, so I can show you how that works. But what we can do is we've got this button up here, the pin button. And what the pin button does is it just locks the deck designer in place. And if we click on that, that means that we can navigate to any of our logic commands here and or folders, and we can then just drag. So for instance, if I wanted to add a color to the deck, so for a track color, I could come over here and drag that onto there. And then if I then assign this to show on my iPad, if I move this back onto the screen here and I click show deck, that's going to show on my iPad. And if I move this across, that's going to move that across as well. So it allows you to design decks exactly how you want them with the functions that you want. So now that we've got this pinned, I can then go over to some other functions. Say that if I wanted to add like an instrument to load, so like an ES2, so we could put an ES2 here. We could then go to the plugin loader, and maybe we wanted to put like a compressor plugin down here, and an expander there, and a channel EQ. So you see how easy it is to build these. And once you're done, if you just click the pin button, it'll take you back to the folder where you've created that deck. And then from there, if I've got this open on here and I swap over to Logic again, if I click one of these buttons, so if I load a compressor, and it's all ready to go.
That's awesome.
That. Yeah.
Hey, Kitch, real quick, we had a question in the chat about adding to the right fader. I think you maybe demoted it earlier, but can we see it again? Where?
Yeah. So the implementation right now, I'm still questioning whether I've got the perfect implementation, but we definitely have the ability to put things on the left and the right channel of the inspector. So if I, for instance, if I go over to my Logic deck here, so on the Logic, this custom one that I've made, I've actually got the ability to send to ascend. So I've got this button here that's sending it to bus 1. So if I click bus 1, that's going to send it to bus 1. And as Logic Pro users know, when you send something to a bus, it will actually make the right-hand channel that bus channel. So the thing is, with the plugin loader, say we wanted to put a Chrome verb on there, if we wanted to do that, and we're just like pressing the button, that wouldn't work. So I've added a cool feature where if you hold down the Option key, and I've got a Chrome verb plugin on my deck here, and if I click on that, it actually loads it in the right-hand channel. And this will also work for sends as well, for the sends loader. I'm hopefully going to add some more customizability to be able to do that in different ways, especially like within macros and stuff as well. So yeah. Good question. Really good question.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's see here.
Should we maybe show them how to build a macro?
I'd love to see that. Yeah. Let's get into a macro, because you showed off the macro in the demo, but how do you go about building something like that? Yeah,
so building a macro is pretty simple. Using the pin feature as well. Pinning decks is one way to go, but you can also create a macro and pin that macro. So, for instance, if I click the plus button here and I go new macro and I go, let's call this Alchemy Track Custom, for lack of a better name. let's spell it correctly, Kitch. Okay, so we have the over on the right hand side here. This now becomes the macro builder. So you can add actions in different ways. You can use the plus add action button, and that's going to open up this list on the left hand side. That gives you a whole bunch of folders you can select from, which have individual actions inside them. So if you think about an action is like the smallest component of building a macro. So one thing that I like to do whenever I'm controlling an app is I like to activate the app's main window or activate the app. I know that with Logic, the way that it works, it's good to use app activate, and then that will switch it over to Logic. So if I select activate app here, and in the application, so this will create this macro action here, and it's got a property, an application property. So we need to set that up so that it works with Logic. So if I come in here and I type in Logic, and I've got Logic Pro X there, and now that that's set up, now what I want to do is I want to use the pin function, and that's going to lock this in place so we can then go to the Logic package and choose what we want to do. So because this is an alchemy track, what we're going to first of all do is we're going to create an instrument track. So instrument track, to create an instrument track, I'm going to go to the track functions here, and I've got a create tracks command template here. And from that, I could either drag in, create a software instrument and just drag that directly below that. But I want to customize it a little bit more because there's a couple of things that happen in Logic that can be overcome by customizing this a bit better. So when you create a new software instrument and you have the default setup of Logic, sometimes it will open up the default preset. And if you open up the default preset, it makes its own buses, and it adds some plugins to those buses, and it changes some routing. And I like to keep my sessions quite clean. So by customizing things, it's a bit easier. So instead of dragging in the preset, I'm actually going to select the create tracks command template, the topmost section, and then I'm going to drag that here, and then it's actually going to give me a layout that I can customize. So from the track type, I'm going to select the MIDI software instrument. So if I come down here and select that, I can select the track count. But the two things that I want to change here is I want to set the load default patch to disabled. And also I don't want it to open up the library because then it takes away my screen real estate on the left-hand side. So I'm going to set that to disabled too. I could also set the output and all of these other stuff, but this is where I'll just go to for the moment. Right. So then once we've done that, I can shrink this down so that's out of the way so we can see that. Shrink that down. So the next thing that I want to do is once that track is created, I want to color that track. So if I go to the colors folder here, I can select, say that I wanted it to be purple. So drag that there. That's purple. Again, if we wanted to customize that further, we could actually just drag the set color preset in a command template in there, and then we could assign it to the row and the column of the color palette in Logic and set it to tracks. But for now, I'm just going to set that as the purple color here. So the next thing that we want to do after that is obviously add an alchemy, an instance of the alchemy instrument. So if I click instrument loader and I've got alchemy stereo here, we drag that onto there. The next thing, if we wanted to add some MIDI effects, we can come up to here, and again, I'll probably just do the same thing here, which is chord creator and arpeggiator, because I'm a bit of a hairdresser with a keyboard when it comes to composing. And then so the next thing we want to do is we want to add some plugins. So Chad, what do you reckon some good plugins that we can add from the plugin loader here?
Let's see. I say maybe, I mean, go for a compressor, go for like a stereo delay of some kind.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Like a stereo delay. Yeah, it sounds good.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with
And
that for now.
bit of distortion. Why not?
Of course. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. So now that that's done, we can unpin this, and it'll take us back to the package that we've created the new macro in. And then, of course, if we select the custom deck that we've created, if I just show that on my deck here again, and move this down to here, and if I go show deck. The screen sharing's done the same thing, but so what I can do is I can just run this directly from the macro, and that should work. So if I click Run Macro here, it's going to switch over to Logic. Then it's going to create the instrument. It's going to set the track color. It's going to add alchemy, chord trigger, arpeggiator, and then a series of plugins all in one go. So if I click the one button, there it goes.
Wow. Yeah.
And then you're ready to go. So you can make all of your favorite presets. Yeah.
That's incredible. Thank you for showing us that. Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't often use the stock plugins in Logic. So I'm curious, like, what is the process for adding my own plugins to a template like that, or like getting my own, deck of plugins from my own library of stuff?
Yes, of course. One of probably my go-to EQ, just for ease of use and sound, is the Pro Q3.
Of course.
So FabFilter, they make a great plugin. And so what I can do is, if I go to the plugin loader here, we've got the factory presets here in the plugin loader. The factory presets are the presets that come with the package. If I close that down, you can see that there's another folder here that says My Presets. But if we select the plugin loader at the top there, oh, by the way, there's a great video here with the one and only Chad.
Look at that guy.
Look at that guy. And he walks through how to set things up. But what we can do is we can click this button, the Add New Preset button here. Adding a new preset allows you to customize exactly what you the plugin that you want to load. So if I click Add Preset, and let's call this Pro Q3, like that. So now this is going to add a preset here where we can set some properties. So we've got the plugin path, the plugin width, and the plugin slot. So the plugin path is the exact path to the plugin that you're trying to load. So if I come over here and let's just select a track right here. Let me find something that doesn't have too much on it. Okay, here's a track here. So if I click on here and I look inside this folder, I've got audio units, FabFilter with a capital F, 2 capital Fs, and then Pro-Q-3 and stereo. So audio units, FabFilter. Help me remember this.
Oh,
Chad.
yeah, I got you.
Audio units. And then we press return because it's at each step of the path.
Right.
FabFilter.
Capital F, capital F.
That's right. Good. And Pro
dash
is it -Q space 3.
Correct.
So now that we've got this amount of the path done, we've just left off the width, and adding the width can be done from the plugin width option here. And the reason that we've set it up this way is because we want to be able to have it so that it actually can automatically understand the track width, the current track width, and place the plugin on that track with the correct width. So, but we can also make these more specific. So we could set this to mono to stereo, all these options. And if for instance you've set this to stereo and you realize that you need to revert it back to what it was, you can just simply click here and then click reset, and then that will take it back. Or you can just choose whatever. So yeah, and then we've got some very cool options here. So for the plugin slot, there are certain times where we need to insert a plugin above the first instantiated plugin in the chain. So if I come over here and say I had a stereo delay there, and I wanted above that, I wanted to add another plugin, or add that EQ. What I can actually do is I can set this to be the first insert bar or first slot. So if this, as you can see, as I roll over this, it allows me to put a plugin inside that. But if this is also down on this slot, it would place it on that first slot there. So I'm going to move that back there. And so if I run this, it's going to go over and it's going to place that in place. Sorry, I didn't change this over. So that's doing it after the last used slot. So if I click at this one, it's let me try that one more time. Okay, I think it's a screen recording issue, but yes, that it does work. Trust me, it does work. Yes. So so it allows you to insert on the first insert bar or the first slot. The first free slot. So if for instance I had a free slot here, it would then put it in that free slot, or after last used slot is going to put it in this place here. So so that's how you make a preset, and then you can just drag that onto your deck and use it anytime that you need to load the Pro Q3. But my standard settings are usually after last used slot, but there are things like Melodyne and stuff like that need to be like the first plugin slot. So a good use of the first insert bar or first slot would be for something like Melodyne or any of those time alignment or pitch correction plugins.
Right.
So, yeah.
Can you show us adding an icon to that too?
Yes, of course. I actually have an icon on my desktop here that I've created in, let me see, how would I be able to show? Just trust me on it. I've got a plugin on my desktop, an image on my desktop that I've created in an app called Figma, which you can just go and design your own icons. I created like a 144 pixel by 144 pixel square, added some graphics and some text, and then exported it to the desktop. And I copy that, and all I need to do is, so I select the file, I copy it, and then I come over to click to add icon, and then I go set icon from clipboard, and that will set the icon. So I've got a nice Pro Q3 icon there, and then I'm ready to go. Awesome. So if I wanted to add that to the deck, if I go over to the package here, default package, demo package, should I say? And I go pin this deck and then come down to plugin loader, and then I can just drag that onto my deck, and then I've got a Pro Q3 plugin right there. So yeah, nice and easy.
Yeah, that's incredible. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so what about, I know a lot of composers would get a lot of use out of the instrument loader, but they might be using other things like Contact or Arturia stuff. Can we see an example of the instrument loader?
Of course, yeah. So for the instrument loader, if I come to the instrument loader here, just like with the, there's another video of Chad walking through how to set up instruments.
There
he is
again.
That guy. So we've got a My Presets folder here. So we can select this and again click the add new preset, and let's call this Contact with a K. Okay, so now we've got the instrument path. So the instrument path for this is you set this actually the definite way. So we actually put stereo at the end. So what we would do is if we go over to Logic and I go to the instruments here, I can see AU instruments, native instruments, Contact 7, and then stereo. So we've got to make sure we get the capitalization, and Chad's going to help me remember this. Okay, so AU instruments, native instruments, Contact 7, stereo.
Yeah, we got it.
So AU.
Oh, you're missing an S. There we go. There we go. I'm here for you.
Is that it? No, that's wrong. Hang on.
There
AU instruments, native. The good thing is I only need to do this once.
That's right. That's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Contact
7.
7.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then stereo.
Excellent.
Like that. And we've got an option here for auto accept and give warning. And so auto accept and give warning, if you want to make sure that you don't overwrite the current instrument that's on that track, you can set this up to give warning, or I usually just have it as auto accept because the undo functionality in Logic's pretty good. So if you accidentally do it, you can just press undo and it usually undoes that. So now if I run this, it goes through and opens up Contact. Ta-da! There it is. Hang on, it's slow. There we go.
Yeah,
I haven't loaded this before, so
Contact is a slow guy sometimes. Yeah,
exactly. And again, if I've got an icon on my desktop that I have prepared,
awesome.
and if I click on that and I go set icon from clipboard, there we go. We've got a contact icon which we can add, and we can actually add this to the deck from here. I think I called it something custom. So my custom Logic Pro deck demo, and if I press OK, and then it's actually added that to the first available slot. That's a super cool, easy feature.
Yeah,
handy feature there. So yeah,
awesome,
great. So
cool.
We've also got the sends loader, which is pretty cool.
Right.
With the sends loader, we have the ability to load different sends. And with the sends loader, you can actually set it up so in your IO labels window in Logic, if you have a long description or short description, you can actually set it up so instead of having bus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 all the way up to the amount of buses you have, you can instead use the plugin loader use the sends loader to load like your reverb by saying bus reverb rather than by the bus number. So that's pretty handy. But it's the same sort of thing. If you create your own preset, you can set the sends menu path and the slot position. And if you need more information on that, just click on the command template, and then you can read through the instructions on just how to do that. And if there's anything that you need to know about this, we are always here to help. We've got a new section of the SoundFlow user forum, which can be found by clicking the forum button here, and that'll take you to the forum. We've got a new section of the how-to section of the forum that is specifically for Logic Pro. And so if you have any questions, please reach out in there. And if you have any ideas and suggestions, we are really keen to hear from you. Already, it's been great hearing from those people who've started using the package. They've come up with great ideas, and even ideas that I'm like slapping myself that I didn't add to the original version, because they're just so obvious. So there's a lot in there, and we hope to add lots more.
Yeah, we've got some ideas in the chat here too. So yeah, we'll get into some questions with those in a bit.
Excellent.
Yeah, can we just discuss how does one get started with Logic and SoundFlow? Like, just can you show where on the website to go and click, or like what they would need to do roughly to get started?
So yeah, so if you're an existing user of SoundFlow Cloud Pro, you can actually download it from the store. So if you click on the store and you go to the packages that we've got here, the official integrations, you can go in there and you can get you can download that from there. Or if you're a new user and you're starting SoundFlow afresh, you'll be guided through a process as you start things up. You'll be guided through a process to install the integrations, and it will set things up so you'll be ready and you'll have the deck display. If you've got an iPad or a Stream Deck device, you can get up and running super quick.
Awesome. Right on. Okay. Cool.
And it's available now. Just a reminder, it's available now. So if you sign up now,
yes,
and definitely reach out to us to get the extra deal.
Sure.
And the extra the time on the trial, and
Yeah,
cool.
definitely. Yeah, reach out to support@soundflow.org, and we'll get you set up with the extended trial for the next extra 30 days of the trial. So, yeah, should we get into some questions, you think?
Absolutely,
Yeah?
man. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let me see here. We've answered a couple of them as we've gone along, but um, okay. So we have one from Nareen here who is asking: is it possible to automate adding fades to the beginning and end of a region? The earlier SoundFlow
Ooh.
integration didn't have a way to access the elements in the region settings.
Yeah, so I've looked into that, and actually, one of our beta members has reached out and said exactly the same thing, requesting that, and that's something that I think we'll be able to do. I've in the preliminary test I've done, I think that we're going to be able to sort that out. So via the inspector.
Cool.
Yeah. So cool. I'll definitely look into doing that. But if you have more suggestions like this and that suggestion, please add it to the ideas section of the SoundFlow user forum.
Right.
And that way we'll log it internally, so we can keep it in mind for future updates. But that's something that has been requested a few times now. So definitely something that I want to add.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think a few of these may be in that category of like, yes, they're fantastic ideas, and we definitely would like to explore adding them. But
awesome.
But yeah. So I'll throw up a couple other ones. So Dan Radcliffe asked, could we add a search for plugin function by typing? And I think that is likely possible, but we have not implemented it just yet. But yeah,
yes, definitely. That's actually something. I don't know. Have you been talking to Chad, Dan? Because
right, that was my number one.
That was his number one. It just hasn't been added yet. But that would
definitely
be cool.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. And then so another question here: can a specific contact instrument be selected using a macro? So maybe even just like a way of asking this would be maybe like, could you load a preset for the instrument loader, that kind of thing?
That's definitely a feature that I would like to see. That's a little more complex, as in because due to the nature of plugin windows, sometimes the accessibility is not there. Right. However, if we could possibly do that by selecting a preset from the Logic menu, right, rather than a preset from within Contact or whatever instrument you're using. But right. That's something that's also on my list of wants to add for sure.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, another one here. So can you talk about connectivity, USB and or internet, and if you can connect to multiple computers or just one at a time? So yeah, that is something unique about SoundFlow is it is a cloud-based service software. So yeah, do you want to talk about connectivity a bit? Yeah.
So connectivity, as far as Stream Decks and hardware devices, Stream Decks, obviously they've got to be connected directly to the computer. If you're using iPads or iOS or Android devices, that's done over Wi-Fi. As far as using multiple computers, if you have questions about using multiple computers, definitely reach out to support@soundflow.org. And we can help you out with those questions there. But as far as the cool thing about SoundFlow is if you run multiple setups, like so for instance, I have my Mac Studio set up here, and I've also got my laptop set up. So when I'm producing with friends and I'm going around to someone's place and I'm using my laptop, I don't have access to the right-hand side of my keyboard, my large keyboard, which has all the extra buttons. So sometimes I'll create a different profile to use for my laptop, and because everything's stored in the cloud, everything transfers over. All of my settings are transferred over, and you literally just have to install SoundFlow on whatever computer, and then sign into your account, and you can only be signed in to one account at a time, and then you're up and running.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. And we have someone asking, will this stream be up later for later viewing? I think the answer is yes, I believe. I think so. Yes.
Do you think my walkthrough was worthy? Is that
It was worthy?
okay?
Me,
Good.
No,
Okay,
yeah, it was good.
yeah. Well, then we'll put it up for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and some other questions here. I mean, I think these ones may also fall into the like idea realm of things, where we might ask that you add this to the ideas section on the forum. But we've got David Vor. He's asking, is it possible to extract the names from markers and assign to a bounce? I think
that's something that I haven't looked into yet, but
yeah,
this is really good. These are the kinds of questions that we need,
right?
To I don't know, just to further add food for thought. So yeah. So definitely add that to the ideas section of the forum.
100%.
And yeah, like if you can be as specific as possible of the workflow that you would use it. I often find that knowing the workflow is more important. What you're actually trying to achieve is more important, because I find that there's so many ways to do so many things with DAWs. So we like finding that good implementation. So yeah, in point form, write down the manual steps that you would usually take, and actually what you're trying to achieve, and that'll be magic to be used to create those in future.
Yeah, and also I want to reiterate, we are going to have this video up on both YouTube and Facebook. It will be up for everybody to view afterwards, so you can reference it and see that demonstration as many times as you want. So yeah, rock and roll. All right, I think that's about it for today. Or does anybody else have any like burning questions about using the package right now? Or feel free to throw them in the chat the next minute, and then we'll wrap it up soon. But
let's remind them about the trial again, Chad.
Yes, for sure. Yeah,
the extension.
Yeah. So again, we are running a little offer the next couple of days, where if you email support@soundflow.org, then you let us know that you attended the webinar, and we'll be happy to extend your trial and get you an extra 30 days of the trial. So, all right, we have one more question. We'll throw in there. Let's see here. I use a large orchestral template and have a bunch of macros, but do you have ones for it? Okay. I might need a little more clarification on that one. But it's sorry. Do you want to take a shot at it?
Yeah. So you can customize. We've got most of the functionality in the Logic Pro package allows you to create presets. So if you've got large orchestral templates and you need to create a bunch of things, you just need to create them once and then you can use them later on. So I think that's answering what you're asking. But
yeah, I think so. Yeah. So further explanation in the chat, he's asking for macros for templates, orchestral templates. So I mean, yeah, you could have a bunch of different setups for different styles of music that you work on, and have those at hand whenever, and assign a deck for each style of music or each template, that kind of thing, if you wanted to. Yeah, that's definitely all possible.
For sure. And if that doesn't answer the question and you've got an idea of something that you'd like added, please, ideas section of the forum.
Yes,
here for you.
100%.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
All right. Well, yeah, should we wrap it up, Kitch? Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah. No, that's it. Oh, thanks for joining us today, and thanks, Chad, for help guiding me through this. A big shout out to Eli and the team at Production Expert for helping us spread the word, and to all those involved behind the scenes in bringing the Logic Pro package to life.
Yes,
really appreciate your work. You've been absolutely unreal.
Yeah, Vanessa just entered the chat.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't thank Vanessa enough. She's been magic.
She's been beta testing and did an amazing job. So yeah, Be sure to follow us on social media. We are at SoundFlow app on all of the socials. And if you'd like more information about SoundFlow or the Logic Pro integration, visit soundflow.org or reach out to us at support@soundflow.org. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Rock and roll. See you, everyone.
Good to see you.
Bye.